Travel and Things, in association with Rugged Wear, Real People, Real Clothing, Real Solutions, presents In Conversation With. I am your host, David Batsoffen, and today I'm joined all the way from Scotland by the wonderful, the inimitable Kate Emmerson. Kate, how are you doing?
David, good morning. I am fantastic. I'm indoors with my little cashmere gloves on because I live on a cold island.
Well, that's fair enough. Would you like to show the viewers your view through the window? Because you've just shown it to me and it's truly spectacular.
The sun has just popped over. That is the island of Mull that you can see across the Sound of Iona.
Right.
And that is my view that I get to wake up to on this glorious island every morning.
Wonderful. So we're here, or you're here today, to chat to me about your virtual retreat. Nothing if not, I love chatting to you because you've always got something coming out of left field. And this, to me, a virtual retreat is so far out of left field, but I think it makes a really good end of year gift for somebody you really care about.
You know, David, I've always said I like being at the head of the pack, not the back of the pack.
Fair enough.
I've been running virtual retreats for 2 years at the behest of a client who said, I'm sick of seeing you go on retreat and run retreats. I need to do it for myself and I need you to help me. And he was the CFO of a big international company and looking after his dad who lives with him.
Right.
And we managed to carve out a retreat for him at home while he was still working.
Okay.
And so I just carried on doing them, but at the request of clients. So then for this new year, I wanted left field, right? And I just came up with this really unique, interesting idea of having me virtually, but also something to hold in your hands, right? To touch and feel, to help guide you through your retreat as well.
Because I think that's a big deal, having something to physically hold. Having tried online stuff myself, I've started a course. It's 20 years ago that I started the course, and I still haven't finished. The course was a year long, but it's all online. So there's nothing tangible to hold. And I'm old school. I can't work like that. I can't read off a laptop. I want to read off paper. And it became expensive to print out every module that these guys that I needed to 47 modules that I needed to pass.
You know, I'm the same, right? I'm also old school that way. And I've been running online courses for like 18 years, but I also prefer something that I can hold. I need something tangible that, you know, that my hands like to feel. It's the same way I shop. I'll go and I'll feel clothing and go, oh, yes, that's for me or not. It's the same thing, right?
So I can't buy online. I want to see, touch and feel stuff before I say, all right, put it loaded into my car. Thank you very much. So what makes Kate Emmerson's retreat different?
Well, this one for New Year, because I wanted to bring people to Iona, but, you know, getting here in winter is very challenging and tricky. And when I did my October retreat, I just thought I can't actually in good faith ask people to come for New Year. So 2 years ago, when I was on Iona and we last did an interview, I learned the art of bookbinding and inking and threading and stitching and paper and all those things that I didn't even know I loved. So I've put together, can I show you the whole little guide that gets couriered to your door? So this beautiful box, which says hands off, don't open till the first date of your retreat, arrives at your door. And this baby will be there waiting for you.
Who's tartan? What tartan is that?
That's Iona tartan that's been made specifically. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful?
It's beautiful.
So what happens is you've got to wait and you've got to hands off and you've got to wait until the first day of your retreat, the 29th of December.
Right.
And I'm just going to give you a little peek because I don't want to give too much away. But in here, there are 8 little treasure troves every day. You get to open. That's all you get to see. You get to open because it's a surprise, right? You get to open these things that I have made for you with love and intention. I've had music on and I've been dancing while I've been making all these things for you. And then I send you voice note instructions. So that's what I've been doing for 2 years. When I do an online retreat, it's not about sitting like this hours upon hours, day after day. That's not a retreat, right? That's a workshop or a conference or another blimmin' Zoom meeting.
Exactly.
So my aim is that the voice notes just give you that little nudge, that little prompt, and then you pull out the treasure from your guide and get stuck in with that exercise. So the way
No, go ahead. The way I've
carved it out is that because it's New Year, if someone's on their own and they've had a really tricky, tough, just a rough year, like a lot of people, they might want to fully immerse for those 4 days from the 29th of December to the 1st of January. But someone might also be away. You could be, I don't know, in the south of France, where one of my clients is going to be. You could be skiing, but you might just be able to take out like 2 hours per day. I will work with each client depending on what they actually want to do and what works for them and the time they've got and who they are or aren't spending it with.
So how do you design these things? Because you say they're designed with love and intent for specific people. Do you have to know the person, or do you ask questions before you send them through to the person? So if I was to open this, oh wait, there's the doorbell, there's my box just arrived. If I was to open that, would I know that Kate had done this specifically for David, or could it be David, Bob, Ted, Carol, and Alice are all getting the same things type of thing?
So it's a combination. So the actual treasure trove is handmade, so none of them are the same, they're bespoke. What happens is, because it's a New Year retreat, right? I've designed processes that I've used for 20 years that are specific to that time of year, which is really great for kind of the umbrella of looking back, retrospective, looking at what you're proud of, the challenges. Again, I don't want to say too much. And then obviously on the 1st of January, it's about looking forward to the year ahead. On top of that, though, David, is that everybody before the retreat gets a one-on-one prep session with me, where we actually figure out, what do you, David, also really, really want from your retreat? And then I get to add additional exercises for you. So I think, David needs this, and I pull something out my toolbox and my heart, knowing what you need, which is where the kind of unique, it's personal. There's no group interaction. There's no Zoom meetings with the other 11 folk doing it with you. It's all one-on-one with me. So absolutely, I get to kind of tweak it for you, with also the general exercises that I think are very useful and important at that time of year.
Now, given that you've been doing this for a long while, not necessarily these retreats, because you've said that the online stuff has only been 2 years, but you've been immersed in this sort of work for over 2 decades, as long as I've known you. When you sit down and you've had the one-on-one and you start working on something that is very specific for that person, do you then go, hang on a second, I'm getting X, so let me do that X for the person, because I'm getting a very strong feeling that they need, although they may not have voiced it, they need that to help them through this time, given your length of experience in this field.
Yeah, David, I think that's the like the co-creation, right? It's the connection between the two people. It's also me tapping into kind of that intuitive sense and just that knowing of, I think that might be supportive, that also might be challenging, and sometimes we need the two, right, in life. Something to cotton wool us and something to kick us out. So that's sort of my role, right? My job, to just put the right things at the right time, always knowing that the client can say yay or nay.
Obviously.
Right, so it's offering something up, and always going, if you think I offer you an exercise and you go, actually, I need to do this today, that's always more important, right? But I will always be there to nudge and support and guide, and sometimes a little prod. Sometimes.
Listen, sometimes that's always good. It depends on, I think, on star signs, because I had an incident yesterday where I was chatting to a guy and I needed some information from him. And he said, wait for my book to come out next year. And I went, I can't. I'm a Gemini. I want immediate response. It was a simple question. How long does the procedure take? Give me a time. But he won't. He's playing so hard to get this fella. So I've got to wait until March for the interview that I'm going to do with him for the book, and then he'll answer my question. You mentioned the fact that there are only 12 people that are going to be involved in this particular end of year exercise. Is 12 a number that is good for you? Do you find that you can deal with 12 and give them the attention that they deserve? And then are you going to be doing, two-part question, are you going to be doing more of these during 2023? So if this is too short notice for somebody, or they have to budget for it at the end of the day, will this be repeated later in the year or later next year?
So yes, and none of them are yet designed. 12 is because I need to be available for the right one-on-one support, because
Okay.
nothing is done as a group. So that's like what is my capacity and energy. Know that I can look after everybody with a good heart,
Mm.
and give everybody what you need, each person what you need.
Yeah.
And then so yes, there is something afoot for next year. Nothing is released yet. Nothing is has got dates. I haven't designed anything yet, but there will definitely be something that will be that will be released, and they will all be limited edition, because there's also the making of these treasure troves,
Yeah.
right? That takes, I mean, getting stuff to this island was like a 3-day mammoth. I had to like book and build, and paper got lost and went to Edinburgh from London, and so it's all those things taken into account. So what is doable?
Yeah.
But yes, there will be something next
So
year.
you've had fun putting this together. I mean, it's an exercise. It's an exercise for you as well.
I have been so joyful and delighted, and I've been mesmerized, right? Like, I look at this ribbon that's designed here by one of
Mm.
the families, and like the colors just, they just inspire me. And as a kid, I was so creative. I used to sew and knit and do embroidery and make my own clothes and pottery and music. And then all my creative energy went into my business, how I
Yeah.
live my life, and writing books. So for the last 2 years, from the moment I discovered this art of bookbinding and threading and stitching with linen, I feel like a kid, right? And I'm just delighted. I've had so much fun, and all my love will be visible and evident. And I know that it's literally just going to burst out of these booklets when you open them.
I think that's so special because you've almost come full circle from what you tell me, and you're supporting local, which is also good for the people on the island, and it makes it different because then it's not mass produced in a factory by small people who are getting 1 penny a day type of thing if they're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is literally, I've tried to source. So there's other things from the island that I don't tell you about that are surprises. I've tried to get everything from either this island or Scotland or the UK as far as possible. I've really just had fun, right? And my heart burst open. I love it.
What sort of fee you've done these before?
Yeah, I've done
This
the virtual. So in terms of putting the booklet with the retreat, this is the first one.
because I was going to ask you for feedback from previous clients, but obviously this first group of 12 is going to be either wow, we are blown away, or really, this is not what we.
No, no, David, we're not going down that path. Just people's response, like in just seeing it, and clients who have booked, people have also just been delighted at I think the uniqueness of it, right? And
Mm.
that the handmade aspect. And it's not like craft stuff, right? It's just these beautiful, yeah, it's using paper, right? And ink. And for the last 2 years, on all the retreats that I've physically run, I use
Mm.
aspects of what, like whether it is
Okay.
setting intention, or sometimes I get people to make little booklets. So I've been using it, but not at this level. So this is like first one out the, what do you
Out
call
the
it? Out
gates,
the starting gates. Yes.
out of the starting gates.
Yeah.
So you're as excited to send them as people are to receive. Now, the people that have already signed up, because there is still some time, which is why we're chatting,
Yeah.
to sign up, those people that have signed, um, are they scattered to the four winds geographically?
Yeah. I've got Netherlands, South Africa, England, America. So where else are they going to go to? These boxes are just waiting to fly all over the
I'm,
world.
I'm so hoping that, because I remember when I started my blog, one of the first readers was from Guam. And I'm going, why are they reading me in Guam? Guam is the only thing I know about it is that they have a US military base there. That's it. Why would they be reading South African travel postings? But so I'm wishing for you the same. I'm hoping that you get a request from, I don't know, somewhere so left field that you go, I've got to look that country up. I don't even know where
Look,
they are.
so long as someone like DHL or FedEx gets there, it's okay.
Is
Otherwise,
Tom
it's going to have to be airdropped out of the helicopter.
is Tom Hanks delivering? You
I
remember
hope so.
the movie with the Spalding basketball that he spoke to while he was trapped on the island,
Yes,
which
yes.
just happened to be, I think if I remember correctly, it was a movie ad for FedEx, the entire thing.
Yes, yes.
Because that again will tell you the reach So talking about that, how do people, and I don't want to mention price because price is subjective. If
Yeah.
you say it's £1 to somebody, £1 maybe that's nothing. Is it really
Yeah.
worth it? Or to
Yeah.
that £1 to somebody, maybe that's bread and milk for 2 weeks type of thing. So I've got to
100%.
be cautious.
Yeah.
So how do they find out more about the course, the costs of the course, payment, terms and conditions, that type of thing, Kate?
Yeah. Just pop to my website, kate-emerson.com. And then there's a button there that says New Year Virtual Retreat. All the costs are there. For those in South Africa or other countries that feel they are on a similar kind of exchange rate, because obviously I bill in pounds, people can ask me for a more locally adjusted rate.
Okay, so we back to special essay rates like they're doing at the game lodges here, which is wonderful. But we get very little, because the other day was International Monopoly Day, and I said that Monopoly in South Africa is still very popular because A, they have get out of jail cards, which our politicians are using, and B, the money is worth more than the rand. I think it still is perhaps.
Yeah, God.
Aside from this, Kate, what is Kate doing with herself? I know that you vacillate between Scotland and Greece. You've pivoted so many times since you and I last physically saw each other here in South Africa.
So I spend as much time now as possible on this island. I run retreats here. The bulk of my work is now around retreats. So writing retreats I've done in Greece and Italy, retreats on Iona, virtual clients, some online mentoring, and then also just spending a lot of time living life, right? And walking and cold water swimming and exercising and looking after and being with friends and just really trying to live a great life and do good and try and stay happy and strong. And I think that's really important for us to stay aligned and in our groove.
This is what I think, the world post-pandemic, I think COVID taught us a lot of stuff about what we didn't need and what we perceived we needed and didn't need. And how to re-look and reassess our own lives and our interactions with other people. And your online retreat may be just the thing somebody is looking for to bring them out of this post-COVID funk and to give them new hope for 2023, because I see COVID numbers are rising once again. And it's not going to go away anytime soon. Medical people that I've spoken to here say at least another 5 years that we're going to have to be cautious. So maybe this is just the thing to go, there is life after this damn pandemic, and we as ourselves can look to build ourselves and to just reassess where we want to go and what we want to do with our lives and how we interact with other people.
David, just the last night I was having a chat with someone who does the 5 elements of Chinese acupuncture, and it was fascinating. She was saying last September I had quite a rough patch actually personally, but I did the work then to kind of dig in and figure out what it was. I mean, I was suffering with depression and I was really going through it at time, for a bunch of reasons, like all of us. And she was saying that within the Chinese medicine modality, if you don't deal with something then, because of the 4 seasons, it will come and bite you on the ass in a year. So I think there's always that, right? Are we willing to be introspective and pause? Because we get so distracted by everything, right? By the realities of life, but also by technology and, being addicted to work, let alone the other addictions that exist. And just often we don't take the time to pause. And something like New Year, I think people either love it or hate it. They're thinking like, oh, party downtime, or they're dreading it and they're on their own and they're just thinking, how the hell am I going to get through? So I always use New Year and my birthday. Those are my 2 pivot points in the year, to just stop a little bit and just go, how am I doing? Like, what's up? What is working? What isn't? And I just even I can feel I'm even getting slower as I'm talking. Like, we just forget to do that, right? We think everything else or everybody else is more important. And when she said that last night, if we don't deal with it, it bites us on the ass in a year's time. I think that's the important thing, right? Just to rather deal with stuff sooner rather than later. I mean, in its right time, right? So it's just, if it feels like it's the right time for you to pause, then you must pause.
Yeah, but you see, other people will look at you and go, you seem to be withdrawing. or going back to depression, I think that's the tough one, because if you break your arm, people go, oh, Sham, you've broken your arm. When will it heal? Depression is internal. You may not even exhibit signs. And then when they find out, they go, ah, pull yourself together. And that's the worst that people can say. But again, coming back to this retreat, those beautiful things that you've made, which you've just gone with, so that we can't. We've just seen a little voorsmaakie, as they say in Afrikaans, a little taste of what could arrive at your door. I think will give new hope and clarity, because that's the other thing. You know, you can be kind to other people, and during the pandemic, there was a lot of that. Be kind, be kind, be kind. But be kind to other people. But you've pointed it out. Be kind to yourself. Take time. If you're hurting and you need something like this, then do it. If people go, oh, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of money to whom? Maybe they see it as a waste of money, but you see it as an investment in yourself and your future, and more specifically, mental and not and perhaps even physical health. Because one of your little tasks, and I'm taking a dip here, maybe say, go out and take a walk in nature, lie on your back in the grass and just look at the sky and enjoy it for what it is. Because we don't. Even when we walk, we're walking to go from A to B, and that's it, which is so sad.
David, it's so interesting. On this island, only residents are allowed cars.
Okay.
Otherwise, you need permits, like delivery trucks. So I have a little bicycle here with a basket and a little bell ding ding. But even with a bicycle, I notice that I go faster. So every other day, I make sure that I walk, or sometimes it's too windy, I physically can't cycle. And even just noticing the difference between cycling and hurtling down the road.
Right.
And, you know, and I haven't had a car for 7 years since I've been vacation free. And I just think so often we're just going too fast, right? So either on a bus or a train or a car. And I can notice that subtle difference between walking and cycling. And it's just, that's the thing, right? To just take that time to slow down a little bit and notice.
All right. So if you were to wear a t-shirt that in one word or one sentence, pardon me, encapsulated Kate Emmerson today as we speak, what would the t-shirt say?
Pause, immerse, reconnect to joy.
Yay! That is so
wonderful. On my stars. Pause, immerse, reconnect to joy.
Wonderful. Kate, those contact details once again before we're tossed off the platform, so to speak.
My website, kate-emerson.com. And Emerson has got 2 M's, and all of my stuff is new. And there's a special page for the New Year retreats. And of course, I'm on all those social media platforms as well.
Wonderful stuff. Kate, as always, it is so glorious to talk to you. It really and truly is. You give me new energy to go forth into the rest of my day and fight the good fight, and maybe even rage against the machines. Maybe today I'll win against the machines.
Maybe you will. So just in parting, I'll give you another glimpse of that beautiful view, if you can see anything, as the sun comes up over Mull.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Kate Emmerson, who's my guest today, thank you once again. I wish you all the very best. I hope the course is a huge success and people all over the world benefit from your experience, your love, and the way you interconnect with people internationally.
Oh, David, thank you so much. I always love hanging out with you.